He sat across from me with a confidence he didn't earn, my younger brother, arms folded, jaw lifted, voice steady in a way that made my blood move slower, heavier. "I deserve half," he said. Not a request, not a negotiation, a declaration. The mediator nodded politely, jotting notes, pretending neutrality while already leaning toward sympathy. The kind of sympathy people automatically feel for the younger sibling, the one who must have struggled, the one who was overshadowed, the one who needs support. I watched the play unfold in real time. His lawyer spoke next, smooth, practiced, sharp. My client was instrumental in the early stages of the company. He invested sweat equity, ideas, labor, everything that contributed to the foundation. Lies, polished lies, presented like truths pulled from a courtroom Bible. Then the mediator looked at me, eyes soft, voice heavy with judgment. "Don't you think it's selfish to deny your brother his rightful share?" Selfish. The word hit differently, a bruise pressed deliberately. My brother leaned back, smirking faintly, the kind of smirk that says, "Finally, I've cornered you." I didn't speak. Silence isn't weakness, it's preparation. And in that moment, I understood something with startling clarity. They had built a narrative, a coordinated one, and they thought I would break beneath it. But they forgot something. I keep records. I remember everything. And I had been waiting for the perfect moment to remind him of the truth he prayed I would never speak. It didn't start with the business. It started years earlier. Hospital corridors, whispered arguments, promises made under fluorescent lights. He was always fragile, always in crisis, always needing rescue. And I rescued him, every time. When he dropped out of college, I covered fees. When he totaled his car, I bought another. When he overdosed at 19, I sat beside his hospital bed while he promised he'd do better. He didn't. But I did. I built something out of the pieces of our lives, the instability, the exhaustion, the desperation. A business born from survival, from necessity, from fear. A business he never touched, not once. But entitlement inflates memory. In his head, he rewrote history. Suddenly he had helped. Suddenly he had contributed. Suddenly he was owed. The betrayal wasn't just the lawsuit. It was the way he looked at me while filing it. Cold, calculated, like I was no longer his brother, just the final obstacle to his imagined fortune. He claimed he deserved half because bloodlines, childhood trauma, and family obligation should make me bend. But obligation does not entitle you to what you did not build. Still, I didn't argue. Not yet. Arguments give liars room to maneuver. I let him speak. I watched his rehearsed performance, and I waited for the moment when the story he'd crafted separated entirely from the truth I'd been holding in my pocket for years. When he filed the claim, I didn't react, not outwardly. Inside, the storm churned slow and deadly. Betrayal by a sibling cuts differently. The blade slides between ribs already softened by years of shared blood, shared childhood, shared memories. But I responded with stillness, quiet observation, careful listening, meticulous review. I pulled every financial record from the company's birth to the present day, compared dates, signatures, contracts. Not a single page tied him to the foundation of the business. Not one. But facts don't matter when a liar is convincing. Narratives matter, emotion matters, and he had both. What he didn't know was that I had begun investigating something else entirely. His past medical filings, insurance reports, psychiatric evaluations, addiction treatment records. Not to destroy him, to protect myself. Because one document among hundreds held the truth he prayed had been forgotten. A truth that undercut his entire claim. A truth that proved he couldn't have contributed, helped, or even been present during the birth of my company. When he filed the claim, I didn't react, not outwardly. Inside, the storm churned slow and deadly. Betrayal by a sibling cuts differently. The blade slides between ribs already softened by years of shared blood, shared childhood, shared memories. But I responded with stillness, quiet observation, careful listening, meticulous review. I pulled every financial record from the company's birth to the present day, compared dates, signatures, contracts. Not a single page tied him to the foundation of the business. Not one. But facts don't matter when a liar is convincing. Narratives matter. Emotion matters. And he had both. What he didn't know was that I had begun investigating something else entirely. His past medical filings, insurance reports, psychiatric evaluations, addiction treatment records. Not to destroy him, to protect myself. Because one document among hundreds held the truth he prayed had been forgotten. A truth that undercut his entire claim. A truth that proved he couldn't have contributed, helped, or even been present during the birth of my company. A truth signed by doctors, stamped, sealed, irrefutable. The night before mediation, I sat alone at my desk, reading the document again. The words were clinical, cold, devastating. Patient incapable of full employment, decision-making, or sustained professional engagement during this period due to intensive treatment and supervised recovery. The dates covered the exact year my business was founded. He hadn't been a partner. He hadn't been present. He had been in rehab. And he hoped I would never speak it aloud. But this wasn't revenge. It was correction. A quiet return to the truth. Back in the mediation room, judgment still hung heavy in the air. "Selfish," the mediator said again, leaning forward. My brother smirked wider. His lawyer adjusted his tie with smug precision. I finally spoke. "Are you sure," I asked softly, "that you want to continue this claim?" The room stilled. His lawyer frowned. "Is that a threat?" "No," I replied. "A reminder." I reached into my briefcase, slow, controlled, surgical, and placed the single document on the table. He recognized it before it even slid to a stop. His face drained of color, his chest tightened, his eyes, wide, terrified, refused to blink. The mediator picked it up, scanning the words, then looked at him, then at me, then back at him. "Is this accurate?" she asked. He didn't answer. His lawyer did. "Give us a moment." But moments don't rewrite truth. The lie he'd built collapsed in one breath. One page, one signature. And I sat there, still, quiet, untouched, while the reality he tried to bury rose from the table like a ghost he could never outrun. They asked to step outside. I didn't move. I let them move. Through the glass wall, I watched the lawyer whisper harshly, watched my brother crumble, watched his shoulders sag under the weight of a truth he knew had always existed. He returned first, eyes red, voice trembling. Why would you keep that?" I met his gaze. "Because one day," I said, "I knew you'd try to rewrite our past." No anger, no rage, just precision. He broke in front of the mediator, stammering excuses, half apologies, fractured sentences falling out of his mouth like broken teeth. His lawyer ended the claim, formally, quietly. He couldn't even look at me. The man who walked into that room believing he could steal half my life's work now stood like a boy caught slipping his hand into a wallet that wasn't his. I watched him fall apart, and I didn't feel satisfaction. Only confirmation. Some betrayals don't need punishment. Exposure is enough. He left the building without speaking another word, his footsteps unsteady, his silhouette smaller than I remembered. I walked out moments later, calm, clear, weightless, not because I'd won, but because the truth had finally spoken for itself. Family doesn't excuse betrayal. Blood doesn't erase intention. And silence, my silence, had been the sharpest weapon in the room. As I stepped into the afternoon light, the world felt still, balanced, aligned. The document remained in my hand, warm from the confrontation. I folded it once, then again, tucked it back into the file where it belonged, where it had always belonged. And as the door closed behind me, one final thought settled in my mind. He didn't lose half a business today. He revealed why he never deserved any of it. And I walked away.